I'm going to show you how to reach faster double bass speeds with this technique so you can play longer behind the drums. Coming right up. If this is your first time here and you want to learn how to be a better drummer and learn about more drumming related stuff, then consider subscribing and hitting the notifications bell so you don't miss a thing. Quite a few people have been asking me why they can't play faster and how they can play faster. I'm going to show you 3 things that'll help you play faster for longer. The first thing we need to look at is our positioning behind the drums and how we use the leg motion. Let's look at that. The hip flexor is this upper region of the leg here, and to be quite fair, I use the motion quite a bit when I'm playing at slower tempos. Basically, you're pushing down with your whole leg and you're retracting it, thus creating a bass drum hit. So it's going to look something like this. Now the downfall with just the leg technique is that at faster speeds, after a long period of time, you become tired and you end up losing steam pretty quickly. Fortunately for us, we also have a small grouping of muscles in and around our ankles. And that's the motion I want to show you how to switch to from the leg motion. Now the ankle has a lot smaller muscle groups, and if we're able to properly control them, we can play at a much quicker tempo with less physical exertion. To start things off, we can begin by resting our foot on the ground. So just take it off your pedal so that I can show you the movement you're trying to mimic. Now if you take your hip flexor and you just raise it off the ground so that your heel is not touching the ground, we can begin by resting our foot here and then raising it up in full range of motion and then tapping the ground with our toe. It's much like bouncing a ball under our foot, as many other drummers have proclaimed. Now you're gonna notice going from the ground with your foot off the pedal onto the pedal, it's quite different for obvious reasons. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the spring tension actually increases rebound from the pedal after it hits down. So you don't have that there to help guide your foot. This is a really good exercise. Do it off the foot pedal and practice it nice and slow. Moving forward, if you're interested in my pedal settings and how tight the springs are, I'll put a card up here so you can check out my other video where I tell you about that. Back to the lesson. One crucial part of this technique is that we keep our heel off of the double pedal footboard, and this is so that our range of motion is much greater. The reason we want that is because the smaller motion, the less control we have over it, which is what causes a lot of players to twitch nervously behind the pedals. You can see them start off here, but then halfway through the phrase, they end up here, and you have to make a way smaller motion to make the same impact. Now remember, do it nice and slow before you try going really fast. We want to prevent injury and bad technique over time. If you're going to increase from a slower BPM to faster BPM, then do it in small increments of 5. Now that we've kind of figured out our ankle motion, we need to be able to maneuver between the full leg movement and the ankle motion. Now this is a little tricky because we're using 2 different parts of the leg and we need total control of the 2. You should also keep in mind that we need to make sure we're working with the pedal and not against it. The tension is in the spring and that's what's causing the pedal to rebound. So everyone's pedal is going to be different, and making sure that your foot stays in motion with the pedal is a must, because we don't want to work against it after all, and that will kind of deter the purpose of this technique. The way I suggest practicing it is making sure your feet are further up the pedal board and not all the way back at the heel plate. We want full range of motion for maximum amount of power in our double pedal playing. So put them about here. I've got a short exercise I want to demonstrate for you, and it's as follows. The first 2 beats are 8th notes, and then the second 2 beats are 16th notes. The 8th notes use the leg motion, and then the 16th notes use the ankle motion. It's going to look and sound something like this. If you caught on to that technique pretty quickly, I'm going to put up a video here that talks about double bass permutation, and you can use that technique on those exercises. And if you haven't already, you can click on the round subscribe icon so you don't miss a thing. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.